people deluded I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Thank you very much for that, Ian. I could take it from here. As you can see, my eyes swollen. I've come back from the gym and my eyes looking all mad. But the show must continue as butters as I feel right now. Like I've been in a boxing match. It's cool. I'll be back tomorrow. But the show must continue now. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And in some cases, good night. I hope everyone's blessed. Now, I must admit, how we feeling, Arsenal fans? Because this next 10 days is very important. You know, we've got Newcastle United, which is not going to be easy. We've got Manchester United, obviously, on Sunday. Next week, midweek, we've got a North London derby. We all know the talking points. You know, we've got injuries. Obviously, we're not happy with necessarily we're playing. The Brighton game, the goalie, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'm optimistic. I'm as optimistic as we can be. I am, you know, this is, you know what, a question for you lot. Do you lot think we're at the point now where Mikel Arteta will change his system? Because I don't know if he's going to, you Sego Jr. has been recalled. You got Nathan Butler-Adej, you got Kaba, you got a couple of young wingers on the bench. I don't know if he's going to start them, or is it worth tapping into the fact that you've got more offensive players? Like, you know, you could play wing backs. Obviously, we could chase the game in that ilk. I don't know, man, because it doesn't look like we've got anyone fit, man. Yeah, it's messed right now. With Ethan out, who is going to play there? Just one injury away from attack, from a midfielder playing in attack. To be fair, we're getting to that point where you probably have to give a debut to one of the younger players, or you have to do something wild, whether that's a system change to a back three. We see Zinchenko play somewhere he hasn't played. You know, assuming that Kai Havertz is back, boy. Kai Havertz, Martin Odegaard, Martinelli, and obviously Trossard. It's going to have to be at least until Raheem Sterling back. If he's back, what happened to the AC Milan versus Atalanta watch along? My five-a-side games got moved, man. So I had to obviously play a lot sooner than I thought. So I thought, you know what? Unfortunately, I can't do the watch along for that, but we'll still be here, man. So I apologize for that, man. I saw AC Milan won, though, man. So it looks like it would have been an interesting game. It looks like they came from 2 goals down. Sterling, Saka, Ethan were finished. And it's such Arsenal luck that obviously you do ask yourself, should we have kept Vieira? Should we have kept Smith Rowe? You know, Reece Nelson's even injured. I don't know what we're going to do, man. And I'm not a I can't predict the future, but surely sooner rather than later, some sort of attacker lands. Who that is, where that is, I don't know. But you look at the run of fixtures, man. This is not anything to be played around with, man. You've got Newcastle, Man United, Spurs, Villa, Zagreb, Wolves, Girona, and then give or take, that's the end of Jan. Then early doors in February, you've got Manchester City. So, and you got to remember, there's already injuries, there's already different players at various fitness levels. These games are coming thick and fast. Like even Man United, they're going to be bullish after they beat Liverpool. They're not in the league in any League Cup action. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but they're not playing midweek, so they're going to have a bit of rest and time on the training ground. We're not going to have that. The option of rotation in a sense is surely gonna be out the window, because who are you really rotating? Unless Arteta plays someone in a position or plays a formation that we ain't seen before, or maybe seen before, but he hasn't done it in the last, give or take 2, maybe even 3 seasons. I don't know, man. Surely we have to dip into the market, but tomorrow's important. Surely we have to go strong. Yes, on paper, you know, we're still in all competitions, the Prem, the Champs, the FA Cup and the League Cup, definitely where this week's concerned. But you're kind of flirting with obviously being in the final and potentially winning a cup. So surely, and this looks like the most feasible cup, let's be real, of the competitions we're in. It makes full sense to go for it. We can barely rotate. Like, who are we rotating? As I said, unless we see Odegaard moved out wide, or Zinchenko played further forward, or we switch to a system where, you know, you have got a couple of fullbacks and inverted fullbacks, or people that have played fullback, give or take. How can we, like, what rotation is there? You're at the point where the young players at Haaland that Arteta has been a bit reluctant to give game time to, or debuts, you know, the Nathan Butler, Dejis, the Cabas, etc. You're gonna have to play them for some capacity, because it's reality is it's not sustainable, man. You know, I wish I could wave a magic brush or get the editor and Football Manager and all these players are fit, but a lot of players that are fit are carrying knocks, as we know. And then obviously the market isn't going anywhere, and every game you're getting a bit more scared. Like Ethan as well, like, got a great week last week from a footballing sense, but now he's out for a few weeks, which again is what I try to tell people. I'm not no expert on youth football, but Ethan, on the face of it, has barely played Premier League football. Obviously, he's made great progress, little isms and schisms, got some good moments doing what he's doing in the League Cup. But he hasn't really played that much in the grand scheme of where we're at now after August. He's played 2 games in a row and he's got a muscle injury. So sometimes when we're clamoring about these young players needing to get game time, etc., you got to remember physically this is a lot on the legs. So a lot. And it sucks, obviously, because let's have it right. Let's be real, people. We ain't create nothing against Brighton of significance. We won the game on points in theory. I agree. We can debate the penalty, whether it was or wasn't. Brighton only scored, even though they had half chances, I have a half, only because they got that penalty. We might not have created it a lot, but we did create enough ultimately to get the goal. And I do think in the first half, whether I necessarily like it or not, the system, these things worked. But we all knew we needed another goal against Brighton. We all knew. We played with fire there. And obviously, we didn't really create much, but Ethan was our best spark in that game. Forget the goal. Well, can't forget the goal, but forget the goal. You got him out. You got Saka out. Oh, Lord. You got the inconsistencies of Trossard, of Martinelli. Gabriel Jesus step in the right direction. Again, I don't think we create. I would have loved for him to stay on side against Brighton. We're not creating for our striker. Whether Havertz has been up there, Jesus has been up there. We're not creating. And that's something Arteta has to arrest on the footballing front. Yes, we need players. We can waffle about needing players, but Mikel Arteta has to find some solution to creativity at this club because, again, Havertz, give or take, he's done his thing, but he's not the guy. Jesus, there's been trials and tribulations. All of the attackers, apart from Bukayo Saka, have been inconsistent. Let's just have it right with that, right? As much as we have to hold them accountable and we can debate, are they good or not, or like all that kind of stuff. Why are they all struggling per se? And we've got to remember, a system's a trade-off. There's many things I like about the system from Mikel Arteta. I'm purely talking about eradicating the weaknesses so we can get better as a football team. We know if we play low blocks, 9 times out of 10, we're not going to break them down. We know there's question marks on the left and the right and in midfield in terms of specialists. It's all fine and dandy. Like I said, first half was great. Rice, Moreno, either way, kind of playing as high eights, it was working. The problem is when it goes the other way. And these are things we knew before now. And I would say the biggest lesson we didn't learn from last season, because we had a clean run with injuries, but we still got to remember, Timber was injured with an ACL. Partey is a key player for Arsenal. He was out for the majority of the campaign. Tomiyasu, on brand with Tommy, unfortunately. It all comes back to the summer. It all comes back to the summer, whether we talk from a transfer front or merely the depth. And as we always say, when you got a tiny squad, and this is where the club have shot themselves in the foot, the players that are available and being run into the ground, it's touch and go with the Odegaards, especially this illness stuff with the Odegaards, with the Havertzes, with the Rices, all of these kind of things. So simultaneously, while Arteta has a lot to think about this week and moving forward, those in charge need to make a name for themselves. They need to get some signings, a signing at the very least. I could sit here and say, yeah, I want a striker, I want a centre mid, I want a winger. Personally, and maybe people see it now with injuries, but I've always said, unpopular opinion, I'm not against another versatile defender. The priority has to be an attacker. It has to be, because we're down to our bare bones. God forbid if there's any more injury, suspensions, etc. And even that, Arteta, 2024, January, February, give or take of 2024, and the last week, said we've got one of the smallest squads. Now, on paper, I think Liverpool are winning the Premier League, but we're still mathematically in it. The Champions League, you hope for the best in it. It's looking mad. It's a mountain to climb. I hope the footballing gods give us our first Champions League, but it's looking scary. League Cup, we've come too far now. Like, get over the line by God's grace. FA Cup, we damn well don't want to go against United. But on the face of it, we're still in 4 cups, at least where this week's concerned. Now, based on what Arteta said all last year with what I just mentioned, does the maths make sense? As I always say, I barely passed maths at GCSE, but we say we've got the smallest squad. We haven't fixed that. And we're trying to be a team to compete in 4 competitions where the 38-game period presents itself. I don't know how far, how many games you play in the league, FA and Champions League from the very match day 1 to the final, but you get the point where I'm going. A lot of these things we've known about, man, and we need to do something in January. Yeah, the market's difficult, players aren't available, all of these kind of things, they're all prevalent, they all make sense. Make it happen, because we made it happen before. Other people have made it happen. It's difficult, it's not impossible. Boy. Do you think Jesus' form is a purple patch? Me personally think Jesus is a purple patch player in general. He turns up here and there. I hear it, and to be honest with you, I love what Jesus is doing. We like to see a player step up, definitely with the climate we've got. But even the form thing, it could have been a purple patch. Form is a stretch. Forget the Brighton game. The games he obviously starred in and got a name for himself up until that point. Yeah, we want to see our player in form. But I said it on my channel. I asked you lot, like, can you really call it form? But again, even if we signed Isaac and all of these guys, they wouldn't play to their full potential. We're not creating enough. And again, it's that cliche thing in that Liverpool drop points. but we also drop points. Liverpool can drop, obviously they can't, but in many ways, Liverpool can drop as many points as they want. If the others aren't going to take advantage, it is what it is. Now, I'm sure Arnslot, all of these guys want to go back to the training ground. But when you've had the run they've had and done what they've done, and more often than not got things done, and sometimes got draws where they should have lost it and things like that, you've given yourself a platform. And every game that Arsenal drop the buck, whether you want to blame refs and all of these things, you're making it more impossible. But yeah, man, as long as it's mathematically possible, we shall fight. Go get Rashford on loan. We can't unless Neto or Sterling's loans are cancelled. Where's Tomiyasu? Has he even played this season? We really missed his versatility. We missed Tomiyasu. I'll be real. I only remember him playing against Southampton. I could be wrong, but you have to forgive me. I love Tomiyasu. I always sing his praises, but at the end of the day, you're not available. How many times have we sat there, especially with the injuries we've seen in addition to Tomiyasu in defence, and think, oh, it'd been lovely to have Tommy there. I think Nathan should get game time because who else is there? And he's, in theory, like, he's 22 now. I think it was his birthday, actually, with the Brighton game when he's on the bench. Arteta could have gave him minutes. He's one of the more, whether he's going to make it at the club or not, he's one of the more experienced young players. Like, he's, played a level of professional football. So there should be some element of hitting the ground running. You're at this point where him, Sego Jr., unless there's other plans or they're leaving or going on loan or we're bringing someone in, you have to utilize them. And we need Sterling back fit because, the saddest thing is, I don't know if he would have shined, but this is Raheem Sterling's time to shine, essentially. Like, this is your platform. This is your opportunity. Smash the like button if you haven't. 5 years in and our midfield isn't sorted. Edu and Arteta were both midfielders, but haven't got it right. Until we fix the midfield, we won't create an abundance of chances. Boy, it is what it is. With Ethan's injury, that means the attackers are going to have to play consistently throughout with no rest. That could be more injuries, and this is the risk we have to take, man. Unfortunately, big up Marcel, man. Hope you're doing well and safe, man. Shame about the result yesterday. I think Arteta is going to play the kids and reserve his starters for the league and Champions League. It's true, but even that, like, how much rotation can you make tomorrow? Because you still have to play some element of the key play. We all know if Saka was fit, Saka will be playing tomorrow. Obviously, I want us to name our strongest team because for two reasons. I want to get to the final when you're so close. You're at the latter stages. 2, Newcastle are not a joke. They will smash us in if we think we can just rotate and do that foolishness. 3, in an ideal world, we kill this tie at the Emirates before we go to St. James's Park because it gets mad over there. But then you can't really rotate that much unless there's something that we haven't seen before. You know what? I actually think he'll start Odegaard because you ain't got really a choice, and 2, he was on the bench. Maybe he's over his illness. You're praying Kai Havertz is fit, but there's scope for Luis Skelly obviously to start, Zinchenko to start. Jorginho maybe to get another start. Moreno, Rice are all fit. Kivio, you'd imagine, would start. But in the attacking half, boy, you can never be too prepared. You can never have a big enough squad, I guess, man. Boy, I don't know what to say. Pardon me, might be unpopular, but we should be in for Hudson-Odoi. Contract ends in 2026. Looks like he's due to explode. Pause. Only missing GA. I'm not gonna lie. Hudson-Odoi is alright, and boy, he's better than we ain't got much, man. They're not gonna make it. Hey, Len hype, man, bro. Whether they make it or not is another thing. They can get game time tomorrow. Just because Trent's leaving, don't think I didn't see that performance. Marcel, you weren't at the watch along. You always hear when Liverpool win. One little loss, you man let Rey Mysterio score. Salah saying, "Oh, I don't know. It's my last season." Trent flirting with Real Madrid. Carragher bleeding every time I have to talk about him. Face show in front. He has no shine. No disrespect. Who are you referring to? Sego Jr. isn't bad. He's not. He's bad. He's not even League One level. That's harsh. Listen, I disagree. I think you lot need to be a bit kinder. But I'm not saying these guys are going to make it. At the end of the day, we've got bare games. There's some available players there. You might have to use them. And if they make a name for themselves, great. If they play competent, great. Who else is there? Because I'll be real, I don't want to see it. But it's even looking like that Marquinhos, you could be about. I'm not saying we should play you. I'm not gonna lie, people. This week I've been Arsenal making me desperate. I've been thinking mad things. Like, you know what? We're calling Fabio Vieira's not the worst, it's not the worst. Maybe even Tavares or Lokonga. I've been thinking mad things, people. Mad things. I wouldn't mind Koulibaly on loan. Like, crazy stuff, people. I'm getting very desperate. It's because I can see what's going on. End of the day, even with my eye, rubbing my eye, and it's all mad right now. Like, I can see what's going to happen. And the only word I find myself consistently referring back to in my mind is unsustainability. Like, this ain't sustainable with these amount of injuries, with this squad, and we get through all of this. Now, I hope I am tweaking and I'm scaring you lot, and we win all these games, and it's all mighty ducks and great stuff and sunshine and rainbows. But it really feels like we shot ourselves in the foot again, man. Man City will finish above Arsenal again this season, despite their form. City or City, man. And listen, that's one thing that's going to pay. You see, if we don't win the league, I'm saying if, small hope that Liverpool, it goes left. If we don't win the league this year, of course, I'm over exaggerating because I said it last year and I said it the year before. But I'm going to say it again. If you don't win the league this year, don't feel like we're ever going to do it, you know, because this Emirates era has been filled with pain. But can I force it and include this year? That's 3 years. The Leicester season. The worst season for me, actually, is William Gallas when it all went left. When they get over the line. I know we've been at the Emirates for, you know, a long time now. And again, I'm exaggerating, but it's not going to feel like home to me until we win a major trophy. One love to the FA Cup. It's a major trophy, but the champs, I'd rather win the champs than the Prem. Like, I've got... The next thing I've got is just small hope that we don't win the Prem and we look rubbed in the Prem, but we win the Champions League. But we all know how that's gonna go. Like, unfortunately, over 2 legs, we're gonna give a good account of ourselves. We might score, we might make it difficult, and then we do the what if things. But those fine margins and that individual brilliance from certain players, when you start playing those proper European teams, boy. Because now we need, where the league's concerned, we need to A, be perfect. And 2, you need to hope that Liverpool drop more points because it's all fun and games. Them drawing, they've still got, they got games in hand. And I'm sure in hindsight, a couple of Liverpool fans probably did want that game to get cancelled. That one's for Marcel. Relying on Sterling 5 years into the project is a disgrace. And what I will say with this injury thing, yeah, I think there's little balance when discussing it. Do I think life has been harsh to Arsenal Football Club, my football club, and you lot's football club? Yes. The referees, listen, I'm here to talk about the referees. We'll get on to how I feel about that in a second, people. But the other side of that, we've been dealt a harsh thing by referees. There's been bare injuries. There's a lot of quote unquote excuses and woe is me and external factors. But at the same time, yes, no one could have predicted how mad this injury crisis was. But we've seen it at our football club before when it's been like kind of how it is now. We saw it at other clubs last season. You know, there was a year Liverpool were fighting for the trophies before, not the quadruple season. They were fighting for the trophies. They had injuries and it all went left. And I think they barely scraped top 4 if they even got that. So we've seen what could happen elsewhere. Going back to the point I said earlier about Arteta twice last year saying we've got the smallest squad. So as much as no one could have predicted this injuries and things like that, and everyone's a genius in hindsight, these men are paid to predict that. We've seen past evidence. And in their heart, I would just like to ask Mikel Arteta and Edu and everybody one question at Arsenal after that window. Are you not happy with all your business? Like, no, properly. Are you happy with your business? Are you satisfied with the depth? Everything. If they're not lying to me, they're going to say no. So then we haven't put our best foot forward. We haven't controlled the controllables. And if they say no, I mean, if they say yes, they are, then you know they're lying. And then I'm going to have to say you're going to live or die by that then, because this tells me if we face ourselves in what we're facing of, assuming we're thinking this in the summer, we can get through this. These players are good enough. Yes, things go left, and to a degree, players, who's on the market and all of that jazz, all of that plays a part. And I'm not even trying to disrespect Sterling, but are you telling me you've exhausted all of your options to make you have to run around on deadline day for not only Sterling, but Neto? Because remember, no one's not focused on it because we all want strikers and wingers and all these things, but he's making a mess of that goalkeeper situation. We had to wait for Ramsdale to leave. Raya's move was made permanent. I'm talking about second and third choice keepers, which technically we haven't addressed. We haven't technically. One's on loan. We didn't get the Dan Bentley and the Benetti guy at Chelsea and all of them. I'm not critiquing the club beyond the point of we clearly messed about. Like we didn't make it happen. We failed in that regard. And now you're seeing what we're seeing. I don't necessarily think it's a coincidence. And I saw nothing in the summer or leaving that summer to suggest anything's going to be different. Of course, you want, Liverpool to rub out Arsenal to win a major trophy, but it does feel like we don't control all the controllables, man. And it does feel like there's an air of not necessarily Mikel Arteta, but the football club. Because the minute they've seen 2 years back in the Champions League now, second best team in the Prem, and in some metrics, despite me, I think the best team is the team that has the Premier League trophy. But all those metrics to say he was the best team in 2024, which I like all of that. The minute they saw that, minute there's Champions League, more merchandise than you can count because and it looks wavy. Looks wavy. You look at the subs up and all of that, and I'll buy a lot more of them. They're expensive, but it looks wavy. That's coming out. 90 million spent in the summer. Coming out brief that, you know, the whole FFP and PSR and having to sell, which again, isolated to what we need to do on the footballing front. Some players needed to go from a business point of view. You need to make more. You need to make more than you spend. I get that. Arteta, rightly or wrongly, new deal immediately before a ball was kicked, but before a ball was kicked realistically to kick off this season. That tells me as a football club, yeah, you want stability, and you could argue Arteta earned it. He took the club from the rubble to this, and there's reasons to be optimistic. I'm not doubting that. But I'm talking about from those in charge, you find all those points I mentioned and stability, and you probably could bet, regardless of whether Arsenal won the league or not in August, that top 3 finish were kind of good for that. Foot's taken off the gas. And this is what jars me, because there's so much to like about what we're doing right now. There's so much. We're that close. But those fine margins feel so far as well. And now you're relying on January, where, again, a similar tone of football in front in the Premier League, you have to defy the odds. Yes, again, it's difficult to do business. Good players don't necessarily, you know, want to move in mid-season. They're more open to the end of the season. Clubs are not necessarily willing to do business. But weirder things have happened. And you've left yourself no choice. Because at the very minimum, if you sat there and, you know, they knew in the summer we didn't do what we needed to do, one of you had to have said in that boardroom, you know what, we'll try a thing in January. Because how much to get to this point in January? Happy New Year if you're new here as well, by the way. People smash the like button. And Happy New Year if I've just linked up with you lot. We've been dealing with injuries from the start of the season and to key players. Because this is Saka's first lengthy layoff, but he's had an injury. Rice has carried the broken toe and them things. Odegaard had his injury. There's been a little isms and schisms. Boy, if we do win the league, I say if, small hope, boy, I hope there's an all or nothing, because this would be the best seller. Big up Sterling, but relationship of convenience. Clearly, Raheem Sterling was a relationship of convenience. There's nothing beyond that. We'll get into this stuff in a moment, people, man, but we're having a good old chat. Relationship of convenience. He needed game time or somewhere that he features more in the plans. Stays in London. We made a mess of bringing in attackers. Arteta knows him. Fat, you know, he knows him. Point to prove, all that crap. Make it happen, because it's better than nothing. That's what, respectfully to Raheem Sterling, that's what we were saying. It's better than nothing. We're desperate, man. Dewsbury Hall could have got minutes. To be fair, he's getting more minutes at Blackburn. His loan was cut short by Shrewsbury because he was out of his depth, scary times, and Marquinhos is going back to Brazil. If it was cut because of that, you'd expect a young player to be out of your depth. You should be. If you're not out of your depth as an 18, 19-year-old, you're playing at the wrong level. Does Zinchenko and Kivior start tomorrow for you against Newcastle? Bro, I hope Eddie Howe it rotates, but Isaac and Gordon and this one and that one, even respectfully Murphy, it could get dark out there, man. It could get dark out there, man. It could get dark out there. I'd say one of them. I'd prefer Zinchenko, but I'm not gonna lie. I want to see. I know we got a game on the weekend and whatnot. I want to see Gabriel and Saliba. I'm on seeing Lewis Skelly and Timber and these guys, but they're probably going to have to. Vegas Gunner, appreciate you for the super chat, my boy. Big up, bro. You've come a long way since sneaking into the break group to make 10-minute videos. Seeing you on TalkSport. Appreciate that, my guy. And it's only because of you lot, because you lot hit the like button and get the word out there, man. So I appreciate the super chat and appreciate you being on the journey, man. Hope everything's blessed, man. What have you said? The club might loan Luiz because he's homegrown, but we need a forward player for real. I'm not going to lie. We definitely need... One love for the super chat again. We definitely need a forward and attacking player. But you don't know how I feel about centre mids. Douglas Luiz, we've seen him score a corner against our club. We did try signing before. He's nothing like Bruno Gomares, but he's a bit Bruno Gomares-y for me. Another one that I would have loved at the club in that. You see what Arteta is asking Moreno and Rice to do. 1 minute be a 6, be a 8. Them man are better at that stuff. So I'm all for it. But I don't think it will happen, because I don't think the club will put down whatever financial commitment Juventus want, whether that's an obligation to buy, whether that's the fee, you know, what the loan fee looks like. I would think we could do with just as many bodies in any position we can get. I would do with another midfielder, but the club might sit there and say, you know what, Ethan, who is injured at the moment, you know, the gaffer spoke about him playing up front. He's played on the right wing. Clearly, he's an 8 or a 10. You could say him. Luiz Skelly's obviously played fullback, but he can play in midfield. You've obviously still, for at least 6 months, got Partey, got Jorginho. Odegaard can obviously play there. They might say, do you know what, 6 midfielders ain't really making sense. And there's probably some other Havertz, of course, Trossard, if you force it. So, yeah, probably a myth. The priority has to be a winger or an attacker, man. These guys could have got minutes. It's true, though, man. Like, I was even thinking Brook Norton-Cuffy because he was a fullback. But had these lot have stayed, they can't predict the future. And they're probably all getting minutes elsewhere. Waters, hello. We had these man to fill gaps. It's true, but if you're Waters, would you have signed that new deal at Arsenal? Now, yeah, if you could predict the future, but you wanted game time. The manager weren't really running it. You need to, at some point, leave the club and go and get minutes. You man are just tasting the desperation I've been feasting since Project You failed. Yo, my dude, surely you're on this mentality thing if you don't. What? Surely you're on this mentality thing if you don't champs this season or league. Arteta must be sacked. He's not going to be sacked, though. He's just signed a new deal. Be perfect without Saka. DG, you know it's a dream. Even with Saka, it's a dream, bro. It's a dream. It would have to be a less the rest sort of season. And of course, fans that don't necessarily support Arsenal or Liverpool, they might be listening to me and think I'm exaggerating because they're looking at it without emotion, but you have to be perfect. By the way, Moreno has already adapted. This is him. This thing of our players from foreign leagues taking time to adapt is a myth. Scout correctly and pay the correct money. There's an air of uncertainty around Arsenal. If the execs have any sense, they'll... Oh, you're moving, man. To think about it, we should get someone from the Prem. Players coming from a different league always take a season or few to settle in. It's true, but I ain't got no examples. But you've also seen team players go from one Premier League team to another and struggle. And again, when it comes to buying in the Prem, bar the exception of, you know, you could get deals like Trossard and Jorginho. If you're talking Kudus and Cunha and Isaac, you know how much money it costs, let alone in January. Moreno wasn't even the best midfielder at Sociedad. You cannot tell me Arteta can't serenade Zubimendi in Spanish. When you got Real Madrid and these teams after you, pardon me, Moreno didn't even do well at Newcastle. To be fair, he was early in his career. I think Moreno's a squad player at best. I don't think he's terrible, but these are not blockbusters. Like I'm sure Moreno will show his quality in the future and all of that stuff. But at the point of buying Mikel Moreno, give or take, did you look at him and think he's taking either Declan Rice's place or Partey's place? Probably. As ignorant as that sounds, probably not. Then you're not the level changing midfielder we potentially need. Just pop the Sesko release clause. If we sign David and Hato, we win something. I think we're about to see a new young player coming on the pitch tomorrow. We ain't got no other opportunities. We need City Sterling. Arteta hasn't been looking for another great attacker alongside Saka with output, and that's what I think went wrong. We need that, man. Like, it's not sustainable for Saka to just carry us. We haven't learned. Why were we favourites to win the league after that mad summer window? Boy, anyone that had us favourites was City. Boy, I'm not sure. We need a miracle to get through this period without compromising the second place Premier League position that we've earned thus far. New attackers are a must and need to be integrated as soon as possible. Even that, man, when are they going to come in? How long is that going to take? Because obviously January you have less time, and I'm just an ignorant fan when I say this, but after I get some water, I'm just an ignorant fan when I say this, but you see, when it comes to Arsenal transfers, maybe I'm being naive, but it feels like our transfers are always dragged out. Like it's never just we wake up, it's done. To be fair, that was Fabio Vieira. So if that stretches in January, if we're penny pinching and doing the hard negotiations, boy, heard Juventus want Partey, just swapping for who though? Honestly, do you think we're signing anyone? Because I'm 80% sure we ain't. We have to. Whether that player is good enough, whether that player sparks debate, I don't know. But it's like, normally I am pessimistic. I do think there's a reality we don't sign no one. But I'm of the belief now, like, nah, like, you have to get someone through the door. Like, come on now. Like, whether we want to cry about injuries or not, like, come on now. You actually need to act in the market in some capacity where the attackers are concerned. Arteta needed to motivate the signing of the contracts like he did with Ethan. This manager, he doesn't understand this is Arsenal. We are desperate to sign anyone and we won't. Well, Saka was overplayed. That's why he's injured. There was no foresight to have proper squad rotation. Sterling may not be the answer, but he was hardly played. Ethan was our best player against Brighton and now he's injured for season. Damn. We have no more highly rated youngins to put in now. It's hopeful that one might be good. got no other choice now, man. Desperate times call for desperate measures, but this is where players can earn a contract and make their name, man. So we are going to have to see. I admit we're gonna have to see, man. Should we crack on with some of the tabs we got? Tab police, look away. Let's see what Arteta said on the status of 1-2 players, people. On Ethan, he said, unfortunately, he's picked up an injury and is going to be out for a few weeks. It's a muscular injury. Boy, Mazzolini, man. No rest for the wicked. Party for Vavic is crazy. Make it Jorginho and some lint from the pocket. We might have a deal. Is Neto Cup tied for the FA Cup or is it only the League Cup? League Cup. So he could play on Sunday in theory. There's not going to be too many times for him to get an opportunity. So yeah, muscle injury for Ethan. He didn't really know. I'm feeling something, but I don't know where it is. He has earned the right to step up and play for us. And now he starts to have some games and impact them, which is done in different positions as well. So I'm gutted for him because it's going to stop that a little bit. But it's another step in the development phase that he's in. But I'm really happy with how he's going. On Kai Havertz, which Arteta, you said he was going to be back and he wasn't. What has the gaffer said? I hope so, but I don't want to say yes because last time I said I thought he was going to be fit and he wasn't. All right, cool. At least you said apologies, gaffer. But you're a madman. You probably knew he was going to be there and said this. Anyways, on Raheem Sterling, we discussed the situation and the fact that we have to use players in positions that they probably haven't played in before. We are learning a lot from that. And what I learned especially is the willingness of the team. You speak to any individual and ask him to play anywhere on the field and they say, I'm there. That's great to learn from your players. It's a long learning process. It's a good, I'm reading two things. It's a good learning process, but not only tactically, but also preparation and training with very few players. Today, we had 7 or 8 with us just to fill the squad. So you could like 7 or 8 young players in the 21s had to join the first team training so we could have certain sessions. We are down to our bare bones. Boy. Just to fill the squad, which isn't normal. It's a weird way to learn, but I'll take it. I cannot change it. So let's take that thing. Let's take the thing that we can get out of it to be better. That's true. All we need to do is just, I hear all of that, Arteta, but signings, bro. We've gone over Havertz. We've gone over Ethan. On the importance of the semi-finals, of course, the manager is going to talk. You can't expect him to say anything else. He did speak on Isaac. He said he's a top player in top form, scoring a lot of goals, and we try to minimize the strength of the opposition. That's a big part of the plan when we play any opponent. The 2 first-choice centre-halves have to play. On the Brighton penalty, he said, I gave my opinion. Unfortunately, we played twice against Brighton. One for another reason, 45 minutes with 10 men. Another with a penalty that is clearly not a penalty. But those are the conditions that we played in, and we cannot change it now. And do you remember when Trossard got sent off against City and Arteta said he expects to see 100? I do think us Arsenal fans, we do the woe is me thing. But I watched Man United versus Liverpool. I never saw Højlund get a yellow card for moving the ball, kicking the ball. I'd love Max Dolman to play, but he just turned 16, man. We're doing too much, man. He might be on the bench. They could want to make history, but probably not, man. The club have a duty of care to kind of calm the hype down. Boy, it is where it is, man. On if the semi-final should be 1 game, it doesn't matter. There are 2 beautiful games to play. I wish it was because we could do them at the Emirates at St. James's. Boy, my opinion doesn't count, unfortunately. So if I have to pick, it would be 1, and at home, if you gave me the chance, that's what I would like. Eddie Howe, big him up. There is going to be VAR tomorrow as well. People, we will be doing a watch along. On Tini said there's no news. I'm not going to lie. I don't really want to get into what Mikel Arteta has said beyond the injuries. If I'm honest, that's all I wanted. On if Sterling's going to be back, hopefully very soon. Boy, hopefully. On Isaac, he said he's a top player. So we see what other news there is. Allegedly, Ethan to agree new deal within weeks after huge Arsenal reveal. I mean, you're getting game time. The minute you turn 18, give him a 5-year deal. If I was his agent, boy, you're signing a 3-year with an option of a 4th. Just so every 18 months, like what you see with Bukayo Saka, there's new contracts to be had. It'd be lovely to see Ethan tied down. And you know, we don't need to read this. You'd imagine Ethan and Lewis Skelly, they've earned it from a footballing perspective and also to protect their value and all of that jazz. New deals are on the horizon. Keep it up. If you think Arsenal are going to sign Cunha, big up you lot. And I hope you lot are right. Cunha is still considering his options before deciding whether to sign a new contract at Wolves. Several Premier League clubs want to sign Cunha, and sources have suggested there's still a lot of work to do to come to an agreement on new terms. That is said by Sky Cavill. So do you trust Fabrizio Romano or do you trust Sky Cavill? I don't know, people. If you've got any hope, make it happen. We've been linked with a new player. in that regards in terms of names being floated. Damsgaard of Brentford, who's been in a little bit of good form. Allegedly, Arsenal want to sign Wolves forward Cunha and Brentford winger Mikel. We're taking it too far now. We already got Mikel Moreno. We're taking it too far. Arteta. Mikel Damsgaard. The Gunners, well, let's skip the Jazz. Where's the transfer stuff? We know we're missing players. Where's the bit about... Okay, reports in Spain claim Arteta wants Wolves forward Cunha. Those whose asking price is 60 million. In the January transfer window, with the Spaniard looking for reinforcements in attacking positions, the Brazilian's goal-scoring instincts have not gone unnoticed at the Emirates Stadium, and Arsenal have been closely following his development for some time and have compiled reports that highlight his consistent performances and his impact in the English league. Go and sign him. Allegedly, Arteta and Arsenal are willing to make a significant effort to close in on the signing in January. Reports in Spain are saying Damsgaard has caught the attention of Arsenal, and the North London outfit are willing to make a strong bid for his signing. Really? Do we really believe that? Apparently, Brentford have a 40 million euros, which equates to 33 million asking price. Respectfully, if we're going Brentford, I'm going to need you to come back with Embuemo, even if you could, which is that's unlikely. This article has said Arsenal and Man United targets set to snub transfer interest. That's in relation to Cunha and signing a new deal. So all these reports are saying conflicting stuff, people. We have been linked with a Feyenoord winger, Paxal, 24 Brazilian, who's been linked with Liverpool, Spurs, Villa, and West Ham. This report is saying 25 to 29 million. Are Liverpool legitimately interested, or is it because he's a former footballer? We need former player of Onslaught, sorry. But this is where we keep just getting linked with players. Like, we just need them through the door. Yo, DG, what's up? Arsenal ain't signed anyone this window. Again, have faith. Isaac will score. We will know it. We should have signed Isaac in the summer. Damsgaard's a baller, bro. But again, how much are Brentford going to ask for? And how much are Arsenal prepared to go? Damsgaard's a baller. All the Brentford only sign ballers. I sometimes think Arteta is just unlucky. Of course, there's an element of unluck, but then you could caveat that and say you make your own luck. We haven't made our own luck. Ben White recovering from surgery. Tomiyasu was supposed to be fit by now so that White could have his surgery. Complete mess. Has Zinchenko graduated in medicine yet, or has he returned to playing? Damn, I didn't know he was studying, but I hear that. Ethan wasn't blooded properly, needed more minutes at the back end of last season and needed to just come on for Saka more often through the current campaign. It's peak for Ethan and us, but this is why you don't rush young players. DG, if it rains, just dodge it. No need for umbrellas. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Is that you can forget about that, even in the summer. I'd love to be proven wrong. You can forget about that. Speaking of strikers, though, Sesko rumors are rearing their heads again. Arsenal might be about to secure their long-awaited deal for Benjamin Sesko, with the Slovenian one of their top targets. The Gunners wanted Sesko over the summer to bolster their attack, but were dealt a blow when the striker signed a contract extension with RB Leipzig. Ultimately, we chose not to sign him, and we got Raheem Sterling. So what's going on now? Where is the info? We're just taking around the corner with that one, weren't we, man? That was silly. Apparently, Man United are facing competition for Gyökeres, a player that has been linked with Arsenal. You go through several reports. He's linked with several teams. Apparently, Sky Germany are saying he won't leave during the winter market, people. But it has said Man United are not one of the favourites, but they're looking at him. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Barcelona. Our name isn't there, but shows a lot of clubs are monitoring. Would you not take Douglas Luiz? Sky Sports is saying Juventus are considering allowing Douglas Luiz to leave on loan this month with an obligation to buy clause inserted. Okay, because of the obligation to buy, that probably rules it out for Arsenal. Once again, Arsenal and Liverpool are among the clubs to have scouted Feyenoord winger Igor Paisao, 24 in recent times. The player could move this month for around 30 to 35 million euros. However, so far, no talks have taken place and no offers have been made. So we're just scouting him. We could have been watching anyone at Feyenoord. Smash the like button, by the way, people. But again, it's easy to link us with attackers. A number of clubs allegedly are interested in signing Marco Asensio this month. Real Sociedad, Juventus, West Ham, and Arsenal, allegedly. He is a versatile attacker, and we are quite desperate. Juventus apparently have offered Vlahovic to Man United in a potential deal for Zertsky. And apparently Arsenal, Man United, and PSG are all interested in the striker, who apparently will be made available for sale in the summer for 65 million euros. So what's his price tag now? We've been linked with Marmoush again, people. Arsenal want to beat Liverpool and Spurs to the signing of Omar Marmoush for 50 million from Frankfurt. Well, I mean, yesterday or the day before, apparently he was all but a City player. So I don't know. Their Premier League clubs and others across Europe are monitoring Dani Olmo's registration situation closely. Barcelona have made a mess of that. Arsenal have apparently made an initial loan offer to Botafogo for Igor Jesus. Another Jesus that wants to play up front. The last one worked out, didn't it? With an option to buy for 20 million. The deal for the striker has been rejected. Now, I don't believe that for what it's worth in terms of bidding for that. David Ornstein said Spurs, Man United, and PSG are all in talk. No, sorry. Juventus, Spurs, and Man United are all in talks to sign PSG's Colomani on loan. Should we get involved? I know I'm desperate, people, but should we get involved? We thought we might get a sell-on clause in the deal that could take Mika Berra from Studgras to Monaco. It seems that Monaco and his current employers are at loggerheads in terms of a transfer fee. We've once again been linked with Kingsley Coleman. Once again, Shrewsbury Town have ended the loan with Arsenal of Sego Jr. So at least for now, he's returned back to the Emirates. Stan Kroenke is still planning the expansion of the Emirates, people. Tomorrow, I've got an edited video coming out for you lot, people. So I'd appreciate you lot smashing the like button and being there for that one. Bit of a different kind of vibe, people, you know. The variety is the spice of life. You know I do watch-alongs, though. Tomorrow, we will be doing our watch-alongs, folks. So, yeah, make sure you're there. Hopefully, we're through to the next round. Sorry, your comment's gone. There you go. We're back now. Gittins linked to Bayern. Looks so promising at only 20. Just know he's going to be the next superstar. He was linked to Arsenal, but everybody gets linked with all these clubs. Actually, seeing bids is another thing. We ain't signing Dani Olmo, bro. If we are in big competition with big players, especially attacking players, we never win. We're definitely not signing no Almo. That Igor Jesus one is honestly one we should be pursuing. It's cap, man. It's cap. And he's meaty, man. We can't be that desperate for Asensio. I hear that, but are we not? Are we not? And this is why desperation is scary, man. Big up yourself, Abdullah. How we linked with man called him Susan Vlahovic. We're a big club. Let's sign a big player. We could have signed Bruno Gamara, Xavi Simmons, Douglas Luiz, and even Kudus for 30 million. A lot of the names you said we could do with, and I would have loved to have had them. I don't know why we're not linked with Osimhen, my bro. What about the sporting director? What is the update? We need someone competent. At this moment in time, it still seems like the sporting director is the interim Jason Ato. So maybe he can earn himself that permanent position. Unless Arteta manages to turn his own club economy into a profit, there is not going to be any option of signing these Isaacs and like. You have to get them, as you said there, when you're at Sociedad, man. I'd take Kubo. I'm desperate. Bring anyone, man. Because it's mad now, man. The players that do play for this football club are injured. The players that get 5 minutes are injured. You know, to have two Haylenders where the star boy was leading the campaign and you had another star boy in Ethan, and obviously Lewis Skelly's had injuries and pick him up, he's with that as well. But to have them injured, to have all the positives and negatives and to still be second, and you know, it's not a massive gap. I don't think you're going to catch Liverpool, but it's not a massive gap. It's very frustrating more than anything, man. Sell Martinelli, boy. Almo with no preseason is not match fit. Here come Arsenal to give him a home for 5 months to come to the end of the season. Arteta out, damn. Sell Martinelli. Do you think Arteta wants to sign players in January and Kroenke doesn't want to release funds, or it's Arteta who doesn't want to hire anyone? Nah, I think no. I think Arteta, if Arteta genuinely asks them to sign someone within theory, I think they'll do it. They have to. Or at least Josh Kroenke has to listen to Arteta. Like, you can see the issues. Like, even if they don't care that much about the football club, to just get reports about us and see these injuries. If this is your business, you surely want to act, and you need to. Arsenal need to do something to give this team an injection of life. We have a great team, but we need a boost. Also, what about Salah? We can forget about any opportunities of Salah, and Liverpool got their own issues. Eddie should have been fired, bro. Got 3 million from Mavropanos, went Stuttgart, sold him for 30 a year later. Same way goes for Miko. Arteta is scared to answer big plays, can't handle pressure. Arteta has wasted a lot of money. How is the squad that thin after 5 years? I wish I had an answer for you why the squad is this thin, man, especially in the last 3 years as well in particular. Like, I don't know, man. Guys, I wish I had a clue. But on that, I don't want to bore you lot anymore, people. I appreciate you lot's talking points, you lot sharing this 45 minutes with me. Again, make sure you smash the like button and whatnot, and we'll link up again soon, man.
Always